Hello, we are the prompting responses from audio group, which consisted of Shoham, Rebecca, Nick, Mayer, and Asher. The main goal that we had for this project was being able to streamline the communication for Hannah. We did this by using 3 different models, a generative, a conversational, and a Q&A model that each covered different aspects of conversation that she might run into and work together in order to speed up her interactions.
To come up with suggestions for Hannah, we used 3 large language models simultaneously. A GPT-2 large model, trained on generating text for generating next word recommendations. Dialog-GPT large, trained on conversations for next statement recommendation. And Roberta Base Squad 2, trained on question answering tasks for the suggesting answers to questions. Our solution consists of a web client that makes use of an API that runs the models. When the API server is started, it loads the 3 large language models to memory and listens for API calls for either next word or next sentence recommendations. The web client provides a user interface that follows the flow of a conversation by transcribing what it hears, then getting suggestions from the API, and then speaking out loud the suggested selections that are selected. The whole conversation is tracked by the client and sent to the API for recommendations. The flow of data starts as recorded audio data, which the client transcribes into text. This text is sent to the API server, which tokenizes the text and runs the models through for inference. The models return tokens, which are in turn converted back into text and sent to the client. The client displays the text suggestions, and once the user selects the suggestion, the client speaks out loud the text, going back into audio form. We designed the UI to show the current conversation on the left with a normal typing interface and the ability to speak out the written sentences on the bottom. On the right side, we designed buttons that show the text recommendation provided from the 3 models. The suggestions are aligned in a circle to align with a future vision we have of selecting suggestions through gestures rather than clicking. This way, a user would not need to click exactly where the button is and instead move their arm in the general direction corresponding to their selection. This is how the UI actually turned out. It is the same as our design with the addition of the About Me button. The About Me button provides a pop-up window where the user can put information about themselves. This information is the information that is used for the question and answering model as its corpus so that it could look up answers to any questions. For developing this solution, we used GitHub to store our web client code and our API code, web client being written in HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, and API being written in Python. The conversation data as well as the About Me corpus is saved as part of the client code. The pre-trained large language models are taken from Hugging Face and downloaded.
An important way that we were able to hit our key dates is actually working on phase 1 and phase 2 at the same time, but splitting into 2 separate groups. So we had part of our group focusing on implementing the Hugging Face pipelines and setting up the API, and then another part of our group was working separately on designing the UI and getting everything set up that just needed to be connected together. Then we came together and integrated everything seamlessly at the same time. Here's the link to our repository with all of the files that we used and also some information on how to run them. Please fork the repository in order to use it for yourself. Now we will look at a video demonstration using all the functionalities of our website. Some loading time has been cut out just to focus on the usability. Hi, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great, thanks for asking. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. What have you been up to?
I've been doing some work on my website.
That sounds fun. By the way, what's your favorite color?
Purple.
Hi, how are you?
I am great.
That's good to hear. Have you been busy recently?
Yes.
Oh, what have you been doing?
Working on a paper.
Do you want to go get something to eat?
Yes. I want to eat a hamburger.
That sounds good to me too. Should we go now?
Yes.
Okay, I'll meet you there. Bye.
We have two main future directions we see this project going. First, the user currently has to click record every time someone talks to them and stop recording when they want recommendations for responses. We would like to create a model that can automatically detect each person that is speaking so that the user never has to start or stop recording and the program can still follow the conversation. This feature would also allow for better group conversations with multiple users. The second direction is enabling gesture-driven selection of the user interface rather than having only buttons.